let's release our top 5 EU right now. So we just saw the top 10 NA from Jahzo and Chrome. Lawler, the floor is now yours. Let's see who, after this past weekend's regional, you have in your top 5 in EU. And let's start with number 5.
Yeah, number 5 was actually the hardest one for me. I think this one's kind of a coin toss and can go to multiple teams. Realistically speaking, I think EU has a lot of parity in it, especially in that kind of, I guess, 5 to like 8 or 9 area. I end up having Barcelona. This is more of a gut decision. I think between all the teams that could be in here, like Endpoint and even Fadeaway gets a nod and a lot of the other rosters, Barcelona was a team that started off really hot and then became extremely stagnant. And I was like, where the heck are these guys? There was a lot of expectation with Itachi coming in. And now that they've kind of figured out they had two really rough weeks, we've seen Barcelona play extremely consistent over the past probably 2 weeks. Not only throughout regionals, but everywhere else, where they're making top 8 appearances consistently, some semifinal appearances. And a lot of that is due actually to Ronicky. Ronicky has looked extremely comfortable and has had a fantastic impact with this roster. Basically filling in the shoes of what we refer to as kind of like a wild card spot. Chrome, obviously, this was pretty much his entire career. He was the glue that kept the team together. He filled in whatever position was needed. And Ronicky has been doing that, but also been able to transition it really well up onto offense. And I think it's provided a level of confidence then to Devo. And Devo is a player that I think is extremely reliant on his teammates. If his teammates are playing well and he trusts them to go and make the big plays, Devo pops off. And when that starts happening, you start to see a Barcelona now that with the young gun Itachi, the pressure is off of him. He's allowed to basically come into this play and perform to his capabilities. So you are getting a very solid-looking Barcelona that I think is going to continue trending in a good direction, and that's purposely why I give them the credit. But I think teams like Endpoint are still super solid. Like, there's so many teams I think that could be in this like 5 to maybe like 7 spot in EU that it is a toss-up. I mean, you talk about the Solaries and everybody else. Like, it's a really tough one, but I do want to give credit to Barcelona. I think what they're doing and what they're accomplishing as of late has bumped them up significantly. So it is good to see a team that could have made Worlds if we had one for Dallas, finally back on form after having a little bit of a stumble here in the offseason. So it is exciting to see what Barcelona is accomplishing post-Flakes.
And plus, they may get Messi back again, so that's just giant for them. So good for them.
Super important to Rocket League. Yep.
Super important to Rocket League. Are you concerned at all about just like it seems as though the results aren't there? Maybe that's what people would point to in terms of why Barcelona might crack the top 5. Does that concern you at all, or is the trajectory improving?
Initially, I would agree with that. So they came out in the first regional and were like, all right, sick. You know, Barcelona's here to play. And then nothing existed for like a week and a half where it's like Barcelona is playing the worst they've ever played, like dropping hard. And then over the last 2 weeks, they have continuously put up performances. They've been super consistent with regionals as well as grid. So it's not, to me, I try to see like over the course of multiple weeks, like you're talking about what would it take for G2 to take over Space Station. Not only does Space Station have to play poorly, but G2 also has to be able to be the one to take those spots over. Because I have expectations that, you know, Envy and G2 and Energy and Peeps and all those teams are still going to be fighting for that top spot. So I think it's a multitude of factors that come in order for people to drop off. And for Barcelona, they've shown over the past couple of weeks that the results have been there. So I'm trying to take a more objective approach on it in the sense that, yes, not only are they playing well and they look good on the field, like when they win, it's pretty dominant. But they're also getting some pretty notable wins over other teams as well as paired with consistency in those results. So again, I think this Barcelona team has been really exciting to watch, and the losses that they are taking are to the top dogs. So as much as I hate Gibbs's statement on it, quality losses, as you may say, those are the games that they're going to take and be like, okay, why are we losing to these big guys like Vodafone Giants and BDS? And let's take these to the replay analysis and figure out what's going on. So yeah, Barcelona I think is a pretty good nod. I think there is arguments though for other teams in the spot. 5 was really tough for me.
So similarly, like Lawler did with the NA top 10, Chrome and Jahzo, if you have any thoughts.
Well, they don't watch
as we
EU.
go along.
I watch EU. Yeah, mine would have been either Guild or Barca. I think Barca's a good fit lately because of Guild's performance in the regionals this weekend. They almost went 0-3 out. They obviously had that scrub issue and the team issue of no comms. They managed to bring it back together, but it's just, in my opinion, Barcelona has just been performing lately, and they deserve to be in that 5th spot.
And Jahzo, feel free if you have any like EU sucks, we're gonna crush them comments. You can feel free to just sprinkle them in between every like you go ahead, go right, please.
You have Barcelona at 5th, but they missed the ball every other touch.
I mean, that's every EU team. I'll add on to that, but still,
Yeah,
it's fine.
true. Big facts.
True.
Lawler, number 4. Or go ahead, Jahzo. Sorry.
I would put Guild at 5, but I think Barcelona's slacking, even more than everybody else.
Why?
Guild, they put themselves at a disadvantage, and they still almost got to semis, and they came back from a lot of not good results. I don't know. Guild just screams better than Barcelona, but I understand why some results from Barcelona put them at number 5.
I mean, you got to check the grid results. Guild have not been performing at all, so that's kind of also why I put Barcelona above as well.
It's also very confusing to rank EU when the grid is so much different than both regionals.
That is very true. But I mean, you're looking in last week's of the grid. Barcelona and Guild get to the exact same spot, but Barcelona's losing to teams like Giants while Guild's losing to teams like Triple Trouble. Yeah. And then you go to week 4, just previously, it's the kind of same results. Obviously, Barcelona's making it through. Where's Guild? Guild's not even in the top 8. Barcelona, again, loses to Giants. So it's like their games that they're losing are really tough matchups. And then Barcelona is also getting into regionals convincingly while Guild is doing it on their last leg. So I see the contrast there, and that's why I give the nod to a team like to Barcelona as compared to Guild. Where Guild, again, in the conversation of that 5 through 7 spot, but with Barcelona's recent results, it's hard to argue, in my opinion, even if they are whiffing every other touch as you stay.
They all suck.
Thanks, man.
Actually,
that's all
Jahzo,
you, not just,
if you don't mind, just say that after each one. Like, here's Lawler's number 4. What do you think, Jahzo?
They all suck.
just that through the entire list. Number 4, Lawler.
Gonna go with Top Blokes for number 4. I think this is a pretty exciting roster. My initial concerns was we saw Top Blokes come in and win a grid, and we're like, all right, they're really good, but Archie can't pop off every week. There's no way. And then they come in and play another tournament, and it's actually Casio that gets the notable kind of recognition for this team. So over the past couple of weeks, I've been seeing this team getting better and better, and the fact that they've been able to spread out whose involvement is impactful, I think answers those concerns for me. Not only do they have the consistent results and continue to show that they can make it all the way to the grand finals in a grid, but they also do pretty well and relatively well in the regionals as well. So this most recent regionals, I'm trying to look and remember who their losses came from. Fadeaway and Vank, but I mean, they're getting wins over all the teams below them, and then you get into top 8 potential. They 3-0 their bracket. They get a rematch against Fadeaway right away. They win that. They also beat Giants, a team that I consider very high on the rankings. And even though they make it into the semifinals and lose to Giants, they still are finding themselves in that semifinal performance. So again, a team that even though they lose 4-1, I mean, you're talking a lot of 1-goal game differentials, OTs, like they are fighting tooth and nail for every single result that they get. So Top Blokes, I think, is not only a very consistent roster with their performances, but they're also answering the questions that I had my concerns about with it can't just be Archie. And that makes me excited. The fact that they are able to spread the field and get other people involved rather than just like enabling one player to pop off, because say Archie doesn't have the greatest performance, are they going to be able to still perform? And in this case, that has been answered for me. So Top Blokes would be higher, but they're just losing to the teams above them. That's pretty much what it comes down to. The top 3 are pretty solidified.
Top Blokes equals Archie. The rest suck.
I wouldn't say that because
shut up, Archie. Shut up, Jahzo.
Just to like even add on to Lawler's point as well. Like Archie didn't have a great regionals, and Casio and Flame stepped up, and they still managed to get top 4. Imagine if Archie popped off, they could have got top 2 again, possibly. You never know. I'll credit the Giants, obviously. That's a team that's still trying to find a way to get everyone involved, and I feel like that they'll eventually get to it. They're an unsigned team. They're going to keep that motivation high. They want an org, I'm assuming, because they're a team that doesn't have that salary cap. They don't have that funding to continue playing, but they're going to keep striving to win all these tournaments, and it's going to be motivation for them. And I feel like you'll see them finally find their footing as a team, and probably even contest BDS at the top.
Yep, they're a good roster, man. They're really good.
I think it was Shogun's line after Top Blokes beat Barrage Esports that he said, "Barrage sent back to the garage."
That's his line. That's good.
Shame.
I mean, I'm sure he's going to continue to use that throughout the entire season.
I think there's a bunch of Barrage jokes during the broadcast. I kind of tuned it out. It was getting old.
Smart man. Smart man.
Lawler, number 3.
Number 3 for me is going to be Vodafone Giants. Really solid roster, obviously. And this one more comes down to where did I want to put Vitality, which is kind of obviously jumping the gun. But I think when you talk about these top 3, they're interchangeable. No surprise to anybody. Top 3 are in no particular order, not going to spoil. A mixture of Giants, BDS, and Vitality. They're just so talented and always find ways to get victories. The difficulty here, though, is just seeing how Giants performed in that final. It made me lead that there is kind of this gap between the guys at the top and Giants, where Giants is a very good team. My favorite thing about watching them in that top blokes game is like Giants or blokes would be in front of the net and someone would go to put a shot on, but every single shot individually, like there'd be 3 in a row, someone on Giants would be there to either meet it or create a 50 in every single circumstance. They're very quick. They're very aggressive. And when they're on form, they basically overwhelm teams. They get to the ball first, similar to like when Alpine is peaking. They just do it with a little bit more coordination, a little bit more poise. So they're like, it's controlled chaos at the furthest extent. So I think Giants is a really good team, but the teams above them are performing a little bit better in their results. I do think Giants can be an argument for a number 2 spot as well. But again, this is going to be more of a circumstance of the team who I have at number 2 falling and making not semifinals or grand finals every single time first. So I think Giants is a very notable team for possibly working into that top 2, but need to get some more wins against the teams above them before I consider it.
I mean, if you get swept by Monkey Moon, do you really deserve to be up there? They all suck.
Thanks, Jahzo. Thanks. Hey, Monkey Moon with Arju is actually looking pretty good, man.
Side note, Monkey Moon is now one of my favorite names in esports.
If you see the way he spells it, you'll change your mind on that.
Okay, never mind. I like hearing Monkey Moon. Never mind. Did not factor that in. I retract my statement. Number 2, Lawler.
Number 2 going to be Vitality, being dethroned. Number 1, obviously, every single week, but it's hard to ignore these other guys. Both Giants, BDS, have been performing so extremely well. And Vitality just looked overwhelmed. Like, they kind of looked a little flat after their fadeaway game, where I'm just like, I can't really give you guys the nod right now. And that's a weird circumstance for Vitality, where normally Vitality always finds a way to win in the big moments, and you're seeing them being contested at that top spot from some of these other rosters. I still think Vitality is a super, super talented team. They continue to provide an exciting result in the sense that when chaos is created, they rival in it. You're talking about any player on that team has the capability to take the ball and create an opportunity, whether it be a solo play, a pass play, or what have you. But the fact that they are being challenged in that regard by other teams that look like they are a little bit more controlled, I don't think the intimidation factor comes with it anymore. A lot of time people play against Vitality and look at them and go, shoot, like this is who we have to go up against. And you're seeing these other guys in the results that they're getting in BDS, in Giants, and Endpoint, and other teams that have taken wins off of Vitality. They don't feel like that top dog anymore. It feels like they can actually bleed. And I think, when Jahzo was talking about Space Station, teams have shown that they can do it, but it's happening continuously. So Vitality isn't the dominant number 1 like they used to be. I think they still, and this may be just kind of looking a little bit too much into it. They may not be practicing as much as I'd like to, or putting enough weight into something like the grid. But Vitality has shown that they've had some lackluster results. And I mean, you say like top 8 is lackluster, but for Vitality, when you expect excellence, it kind of is. So they still make semifinals most recently in the grid and in regionals. Obviously, they're performing really well, but there's a team that is performing better than them and beating them along the way. So Vitality is going to take a little bit of a hit here, and it's just mostly because the team above them has been nothing but dominance.
Listen, you're finally able to all speak French with your own team, with the best 3 players in the world, and you can't even make finals?
Shut up, Jahzo.
Get out of here. Not number 2. You suck. Get out of here, Vitality.
Toxic.
You can finally speak French with your teammates, and you can't even win everything? Like, what's going on here? Get out of here. They suck.
I will say this. I have my same EU top 5 like Lawler, so I think me and Lawler just save wavelength,
Our top 5 was the exact
high
same
IQ, compared to Jahzo.
It's those big brains, man. Those big brains. Jahzo saw Leaf come in and be like, look what is in at number 5. And we're all like, Jahzo was like, let me one up it. I got this.
That's why Leaf's the host and not the analyst.
That's Jahzo's top 5 would just be 5. This team sucks. 4. This team sucks. 3. This team sucks. It would just be this team sucks all the way down.
With G2 at the top. Yeah.
With
No,
G2.
but see,
yeah,
listen.
and G2 would be number 1 in the EU rankings also.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
He's like, yeah, Carlos is wrong. That works, right? I can just
Oh, yeah.
write that in.
Just my 1 through 16 is all the same team because they might as well all suck.
I think EU's like kind of hard to predict as well because you got your grids and the grid results are all over the place. You got Oxygen coming out of nowhere performing in the grids, but then regionals are nowhere to be seen, which is why it's kind of hard to rate a top 5. But I feel like that top 5 is pretty spot on from Lawler.
Yeah, I held on to Oxygen for a little bit because I, again, try to weight consistency over the course of numerous weeks. And it's like, all right, one regional, like you guys don't do that well, but you're still dominating for Oxygen in the grid. We'll keep you around, we'll drop you down a little bit to like 4 and then to 7. And then they didn't show up in regionals again. It's like, all right, guys, like I can't put you here. This is the stuff that's weighted the heaviest. So again, it does make it very difficult. EU, as mentioned, has a lot of parity to it. It is kind of all over the place, but for the top 3, top 4, like without argument, I have no issues defending those, final breath. Obviously, number 1 team being BDS, winning 2 regionals, absolutely dominant across the board. They had some struggles, obviously, in the grid, but and the things that matter the most, they look absolutely dominant. I mean, you're talking to qualify for top 8, they beat Guild, they beat Endpoint, they beat Barcelona, all teams, obviously, also that could be considered in that number 5 spot. So strength of schedule, they also show it there. You're talking when they play in stage 1, wins over Monkeys, Barcelona again. It's like they have very good results. They've shown that they can continuously beat not only Vitality, but also Giants. And I was really hoping that this grand final and playoffs for regionals was going to be a closer match, but like BDS didn't even blink. Like it was just before you knew it, the game was over. Like I got up to walk away and then came back and they were already up like 2-0 in the series. I'm like, all right, this is over. Like Giants can't do anything here. So BDS has 100% solidified themselves as the best team in Europe. And that is a very big deal as a team that realistically speaking has a new roster addition of Extra who came from AS Monaco and is just recently promoted. This is their first time playing in the RLCS. And they are, without a doubt, the best. By far. Very talented team.
So there's Lawler's top 5. Just to recap, it is BDS, Vitality, Giants, Top Blokes, and Barcelona rounding out the top 5 in EU. Don't forget, we do this every single week. We give you at least the top 5 in NA and top 5 in EU. We made that change a couple weeks ago here on Behind the Wheel.